news. Today we'll be discussing what has dominated every headline, actress Amy Green's breakdown. Catch our feature on today's show exploring the making and behind-the-scene footage of the brand new film Illusive, in which Amy portrays a character which has mental health issues. Help us answer the question, was this a coincidence or was this a publicity stunt? Over to you, Jess.
Hi, I'm Jess Richardson and welcome to Delirious Pictures. Today I'm going to take you around the studio tour of the making of Illusive. Come on, follow me. Many of our avid followers, Delirious Pictures has become a very well-known brand. Our Los Angeles studio is a very important tourist attraction now, as a lot of our fans come and see where many of our films are created. The more recently critically acclaimed film Prelim, these stairs have become a very iconic place in our Los Angeles film studio, becoming a very big attraction to many of our fans. Also, it's allowed the company to span on to creating films such as Illusive that have created many big stars recently. Our film Illusive is actually in the very early stages of the editing process, so if you'd like to come with me, we can have a quick look at what actually happens in the editing process. Now I'm actually going to have a chat with our editing fellow Delirious Pictures worker, Miss Caitlin Newbury.
Hi Jess.
Hi Caitlin, how are you today?
I'm really good.
Right, so
I'm currently just sat editing part of our film, Illusive. As you can see, this is really effective, is this transition, because it just helps to give an extra illusion as it goes into the title.
talk about target audiences and what actually went into Illusive.
It's absolutely fine, Jess.
We'll go. How does your media product Illusive represent a target audience or a particular social group?
Well, our media product, Illusive, actually represents many different social groups. The main target audience, though, is teenagers and young adults, because our star is Amy Green and she's actually 16 and she's playing an 18-year-old, and so we wanted...
Recently heard that she's been admitted to rehab. Is that a true story? Would you know anything about this?
I'm not prepared to speak about Amy's condition.
So, okay, we'll carry on with the interview. The teenage character she's struggling with a traumatic experience.
Yeah.
How was she represented throughout the film to show this bad experience she's getting through?
We actually use her to represent many people out there who are going through what Amy's character is actually going through, so we want to connect to that kind of audience that's had that horrible experience.
And it has been shown that a lot of the horror and thrillers that are out there in cinemas are very popular with all classes of teenagers. How did you try and either stay with those conventions or follow them?
Yeah, well, Black Swan gave us a big indication of how successful a thriller film can be with the teenage audience, and so we took that on board and followed some similar conventions.
Yeah, that sounds like
such as darkness.
Because I know the Black Swan was very successful. It had a very large target audience with all age groups. Is that what you tried to do?
That is exactly what we tried to go with, Jess.
The studio at Delirious Pictures, I'm still talking to Miss Caitlin Newbury. Would you mind if I ask you about, I hear you're quite new to the Illusive team, what have you learned about technology and the process of constructing this sort of product?
Well, firstly it's the cameras. I hadn't really used the similar cameras to what we used for Illusive, so that was quite interesting to learn how to record and stop recording. Also Adobe Premiere, hadn't really used that before either, so actually putting the film together was quite an interesting experience. Also the editing as well, like using different transitions that I hadn't really thought of using before to fit with the thriller convention.
So looking back at your prelim, which did actually gain critical acclaim and has done very well at the Oscars recently, what have you learned from that process? As that one of your main films at the moment, what did you learn from that you have brought back onto Illusive to create that sort of feel?
Well, Photoshop helped with the magazine in preliminary because we then could use that to create the actual title of Illusive, and then also the similar things of Adobe, using that to actually put the film together, and then the camera as well, learning how to actually film the thing and then get it onto Premiere to create a good product.
Yeah, and I'm sure that Illusive will be. Welcome back to Day 2 of the Entertainment's feature special on the behind the scenes of making of Illusive. I'm still speaking to Miss Caitlin Newbury about what goes into the planning process for Illusive. I can see behind it there's a lot of work that goes into this. Would you care to tell me more
Yeah,
about
this is actually our early planning towards the creation of Illusive. We've noticed that looking at different films, the opening minute sequence of the films, we noticed that there's no real music, it's just like a drone. So we use that in Illusive, but use more tense music to reflect Amy's character's mind.
Yeah.
We also noticed there's a dark and eerie atmosphere. There's a lighter scene. We use this with the therapy scene being dark and the nightmares being light. And this is really just our planning.
Yeah, so when you are thinking of planning for stuff, how long
Yeah.
is the process and how long does it take to...
Well, usually we spend about a week planning towards actually creating our film, and then we'll talk to directors and the actors themselves on what they want their characters to speak.
Speaking of actors, Amy Green's just entered, so shortly we're going to have an interview with Amy Green if you come back after the out there. How was your recent stint in rehab? Was it just a publicity stunt?
I wouldn't say it was actually. After we'd filmed, I thought, I felt a bit anxious, a bit paranoid, so I thought maybe I'd look up some of the symptoms, and I actually thought that maybe I had some of them, so I thought I might as well just go in there, talk to some of the people, just see what's going on, talk to some of the patients, see how they started, and hopefully they're all right. But yeah, it wasn't a publicity stunt. No, I felt a bit anxious. So.
Right, yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed our behind the scenes documentary of the making of Illusive. But right now it's going to be back to Jasmine Nixon for the rest of today's headlines.
Thank you for that, Jess. I hope it's given you a wonderful insight into the true making of the film and also helps you answer the question, was it a publicity stunt? Amy's stint into rehab. Join our poll on Facebook and let us know what you think.